to see you. It's so wonderful to have Russell Norman back with us on the piano. Welcome back, Russell. Shabbat Shalom. We're going to begin with the words that are perfect as we can feel spring coming in the air. Dodi Li, and you can find the words to sing along on page 129 of your prayer book. Dodi Li, va'ani lo haroeh b'shoshani. Dodi Li, va'ani lo haroeh b'shoshani.
Shabbat Shalom and welcome to Congregation Beth Am. It's a delight to have you join us this Shabbat, whether you're here with us every Friday night or just stumbled upon us. Welcome, take a deep breath. Welcome, Shabbat. I want to extend a special welcome to the Beth Am Introduction to Judaism class who's streaming in. Welcome, Shabbat Shalom to all of you. It's a delight to have you as part of our class and part of us this evening. Looking forward to celebrating with you a little bit after the service. I also wanted to say that we have Rabbi Heath Wattenmaker, Rabbi Jeremy Morrison, and Cantor Spall joining us along with myself. My name is John Prosnett, and of course, Russell Norman, as Cantor Spall mentioned, joining us back at Beth Am, and we are all so excited, brought such a smile to everyone's face. We'll sing the words of Bring in the Light as we light our Shabbat candles, or as we think about lighting our Shabbat candles, and you'll see it on the slide.
Bring in the light of Shabbat.
on page 120 of your Siddur. Zoe and her family will light the lights of Shabbat. If you have your candles, you can join with us as well.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
What an amazing family. Mazel tov to all of you, and Shabbat Shalom. On page 123, Zoe will now lead us in the sweetness of Shabbat, lead us in the Kiddush. If you have wine at home and you haven't tasted it yet, you can lift your cup with us.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho v'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron l'maaser v'reishit ki hu yom tehila l'mikra'e kodesh zeicher litziat mitzrayim kivanu v'acharta ve'otanu kidasha mikol ha'amim ve'shabbat kodshcha be'ahava u'veratzon kinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat.
Amen.
Mazel tov.
L'chaim and Mazel tov, Zoe. Just for the record, I'll clear the record. Wine or grape juice for our bar or bat mitzvah students as well. Wine or grape juice. Zoe, we can't wait to celebrate with you tomorrow as you become the newest teacher of Torah in our community. The words of Lecha Dodi are on page 138. We'll sing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9.
ושלום, עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה.
Turn now to our call to prayer, Baruch Hu, page 146. Please rise. This is the hour of change, and within it, we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'ma'ariv Aravim. In praise of Torah, in praise of God and God's eternal love, Ahavat Olam. Page 150. Please be seated. Ellie Wedner will become bat mitzvah next Shabbat, and she will lead us now in the Via Havta on page 154.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. וחיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלבתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובפומך, ושרתם מאוד על ידך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, ובטבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים אלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתיכם מארץ מצרים, לחיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Adonai Elohim, Emet. Yasher Koach, Eli.
Thank you, Eli. Yasher Koach. Can't wait to celebrate with you and your entire family next week. It's a really special Shabbat for many synagogues and many communities across North America and even across the world. It's a Shabbat where we honor the organization HIAS. HIAS is sponsoring a refugee awareness Shabbat across the country, and many synagogues are supporting HIAS in this call to remember asylum seekers and refugees. HIAS is one of the amazing organizations, 140 years old now, that has helped sponsor Jews originally and then other refugees. I got a text message last night from one of our members who said, I am here because of HIAS. They sponsored my grandparents. Beth Am has a long history working with HIAS, including a rally that we hosted in Mountain View 4 or 5 years ago, a trip by our lawyers to El Paso to work with asylum seekers a couple years ago, and even last night a program with the Mountain View Day Workers Center and HIAS. And it's a real honor to have a member of the National Board and a former employee of HIAS as a member of Beth Am, Dorit Perry. Dorit even served as chief legal counsel for HIAS in Rome, where she assisted in the migration of over 40,000 Soviet and Iranian refugees. She's devoted her entire life to working with the refugees and asylum seekers. And it's a great honor to ask her to offer a reading on behalf of HIAS's Refugee Awareness Shabbat.
Refugees. In a way, we are all refugees. Perhaps you yourself came to the United States for safety, or perhaps it was your grandparents or their grandparents. We all have a refugee in our family history. As individuals, as families, as Jews, we have a personal connection to the refugee experience. As Passover approaches, we will retell the story of being strangers in a strange land and recount the many repetitions of this narrative. Rooted in our longstanding values and traditions, we strive to offer shelter to those fleeing hate and oppression, and we support all who long for freedom.
We sing now on page 158, Mi Chamocha, our song of longing for freedom, our song reminding us of the possibility of going from those narrow places, those restrictive places, to a place of openness and freedom. Page 158.
וגאלום יד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל.
On page 160, words of protection and prayers for peace for us, for the whole world, for all those whom we love and hold dear. Words of Hashkivenu. On page 164, we begin Ha-Tefillah, the Tefillah, the central portion of our worship this evening. I invite you at home to lift yourself up, either physically or spiritually, as we recite the opening words, opening meditations of the Amidah together, and then take some time for our own silent prayer. We'll begin together on page 164.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avoteinu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah. Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chatzei Avot v'Imahot, U'mevii Geula Livnei Bneihem, Leman Shmo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer Moshiach Magen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Avraham Ve'ezrat Sarah.
Page 168.
Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, V'chayei HaKol Atah Rav Lehoshia, Mashiv HaRuach U'morid HaGashem, Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed, Mechayei HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Verofech Olim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Michamocha Bal Gevurot, Umidom Melach, Melech Memit Umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman Atal HaChayot HaKol, Baruch Atah Adonai, Mechayeh HaKol. Atah Kadosh v'Shimcha Kadosh, U'Kadoshim B'chol Yom Yehalelucha Selah, Baruch Atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh.
Another reading from Hayas. Pitchu li sharei tzedek avovam odeya. Open for me the gates of righteousness that I may enter and praise God. Open up the gates of freedom. Open them to those in need of safety and protection. Open up the gates of mercy. Open them to those who forget we were once strangers in the land of Egypt, the narrow place. Open up the gates of justice. Open them to those who remember that we know the soul of the stranger. Open up the gates of righteousness. Open them to those who walk hand in hand and heart to heart with today's refugees and asylum seekers. Together we will find the path to freedom.
despite the joy of Shabbat and joy of Bat Mitzvah and coming together, we know that there are people in need of healing and in our community, and we take this opportunity to offer them our sacred prayer. We're specifically thinking of those in need of healing. Ginny Anderson, David Baruch Ben Simona, Linda Derman, Mason Easley, Marvin Gerstein, Barbara Heiken, Peggy Pizzo, and Marilyn Sachs. If you're thinking of someone in need of healing, I invite you to speak their name out loud. Even if you're in a room by yourself, let their name surround the room as we sing the song, Healer of the Brokenhearted, which you'll see as a slide.
Are you a Purim Jew or a Passover Jew? In the Jewish calendar, we find ourselves having just celebrated Purim, starting to look towards Passover, just a few weeks away. So it seems like a fair question tonight. Now, I'm not asking if you prefer Hamantaschen to gefilte fish, or masks over matzah, or even Mordechai over Moses, or even about which holiday you might prefer. This question is really about how you view yourself in relation to the world around you. Jewish scholar Yossi Klein Halevi of the Hartman Institute in Jerusalem describes these two types this way. Jewish history speaks to our generation in the voice of two biblical commands to remember. The first commands us to remember that we were strangers in the land of Egypt, and the message of that commandment is, don't be brutal. The second voice reminds us to remember how the tribe of Amalek attacked us without provocation while we were wandering in the desert, and the message of that command is, don't be naive. The first command is the voice of Passover, of liberation. The second is the voice of Purim, commemorating our victory over the genocidal threat of Haman, a descendant of Amalek. Passover Jews are motivated by empathy with the oppressed. Purim Jews are motivated by alertness to threat. Both are essential. One without the other creates an unbalanced Jewish personality, a distortion of Jewish history and values. On this Shabbat, on which we recognize the experience and vulnerability of the refugee and the asylum seeker with Hayas, we lift up the biblical call for empathy, the repetition over and over again throughout the Torah to love the stranger, rooted in our own experience of slavery, of otherness. We certainly aspire to be Passover Jews. And as Purim Jews, we also recognize the uncertainty and fragility that exists in our world today. We acknowledge the rising gap between the haves and the have-nots. We acknowledge the systemic racism that exists in our society. We know the rising tide of anti-Semitism and the concerns that that brings. But even Purim Jews cannot always give in to fear and uncertainty. As we approach the 1-year mark of sheltering in place, wearing masks, social distancing, washing hands. Hopefully you've always been washing your hands, but really washing your hands. 1 full year of pandemic living, which has so often felt like wandering with trepidation through a scary and unknown wilderness. Perhaps the narrative of the Exodus rings true for us this year in new and powerful ways. This week's Torah portion, Ki Tisa, offers a cautionary tale about giving in to our darkest fears and uncertainties. It is a warning of what not to do when we face uncertainty. I'm talking about the story of the golden calf, in which the Israelites implore Aaron to construct a golden calf, an idol for them to worship, when they fear that Moses has either deserted them or perished. The text tells us that when the people saw that Moses was delayed in coming down from the mountain, the people gathered against Aaron and said to him, "Come, make us a god who shall go before us. For that man Moses, who brought us from the land of Egypt, we do not know what has happened to him." Their actions and their impatience are born out of a fear for the worst, paired with a dangerous sense of impatience for moving forward, perhaps returning to their journey, which maybe at this point may have even felt like some sort of normal. There have certainly been many moments where we have dealt with our own fears and uncertainties throughout this past year. Moments when we felt alone or isolated or unsure of what we could do to rectify a situation, felt uncertainty around our own health and safety. Psychologist Brené Brown, in talking about grappling with uncertainty, explains that uncertainty makes us feel vulnerable, so we try to escape it any way we can. Sometimes we even settle for misinformation or bad news over not knowing. Have you ever ended up in an internet rabbit hole of terror while waiting for test results? Yet it really is possible to thrive amid uncertainty. It's not only about getting advice you can trust. It's about faith and self-trust, believing that whatever happens, you'll find a way through it. Without uncertainty, says Brown, we'd never start a business or risk loving someone new. We'd never go on with our lives. We recognize that there are no guarantees when we step into the unknown. But these periods of discomfort can give rise to life's most important adventures. The desire to escape their predicament in some way and a lack of self-trust were indeed two significant challenges facing the Israelites. While they knew that Moses was not God, for much of their journey, he was the physical manifestation of their relationship with God. It was only through this incident with the golden calf that the Israelites started to wake up and realize that their relationship with God was not contingent upon Moses or some physical thing, but that it could and should be something deeply personal, unique to every individual. So too, we have learned over the past year to find a balance between panic and understanding as the science and best practices for safety have continued to evolve. This past Wednesday night, as we marked this one-year anniversary with our teens, we read this powerful prayer penned by our own past president and current URJ vice president for strengthening congregations, Amy Asen, a Nisim Bechol Yom, a prayer for daily miracles for coronavirus, which was published just about a year ago as we were stepping into this year of uncertainty. Here's just a little bit of it. Praised be the eternal God, source of the universe, who has implanted mind and instinct within every living being, who has given us a new day where we are alive and we too can sense the difference between day and night, between light and darkness, between true and false, and between appropriate concern and panic, who has made me a Jew or connected to the Jewish community, who has given me the obligation, the tools, and the resources to strive to act like a human being when others may be driven by fear, homophobia, or racism. Praise be the eternal God, source of the universe, who has made me to be free. While my ability to be in physical community may be limited, help me see that I am still free to make choices every minute, every day. So consider tonight if you are a Passover Jew or a Purim Jew. Or perhaps what is your blend between Passover, looking at the world and our fellow humans with a deep sense of empathy and a desire to help the stranger, and Purim, looking for threats around every corner. May we continue to be able to find the delicate balance between empathy and caution, between compassion and uncertainty. May we carry with us a little Purim and a little more Passover. Shabbat Shalom.
Yasher Koach, Rabbi, and you remind us, of course, that we live with uncertainty. It's our daily existence is to live with a feeling of uncertainty and vulnerability, and yet we continuously assert a vision of wholeness and of peace. And we do that now through the words of Aleinu on page 586. Please rise.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המון. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Please be seated. We turn now to our prayer of memory, to the Mourner's Kaddish, which is on page 598. And this setting is by Ellen Bass. It's called The Thing Is. To love life, to love it even when you have no stomach for it, and everything you've held dear crumbles like burnt paper in your hands, your throat filled with the silt of it. When grief sits with you, its tropical heat thickening the air, heavy as water more fit for gills than lungs. When grief weights you like your own flesh, only more of it, an obesity of grief, you think, how can a body withstand this? Then, you hold life like a face between your palms, a plain face, no charming smile, no violet eyes, and you say, yes, I will take you, I will love you, again.